Hey there, fellas. Alright, today you're in for a new experiment. Hopefully some of you guys recognize this here guinea pig. The roof on this car might actually be a giveaway. You might remember how we loaded it with 2.5 tons and tried to make it up our hill. These cars, man. My love for them just keeps growing. Even after those experiments, it's still in good health. Anyway, so I was going through the suggestion box and found a rather interesting one in there. So the idea is to seal the exhaust system, put the pedal to the floor, get the engine up to maximum RPM, and then block off the exhaust abruptly to see what happens when you do that. So I've got myself a muffler, a resonator, and the rest of the exhaust system. Also, I've got a ball valve, and today we'll be putting all of this to use. Let's go ahead and weld it all together. Make sure it's all sealed properly, so that there aren't any gases leaking out. And see where we get with this. Okay, let's get stuck right into it. What happens when you block off the exhaust at 8,000 RPM? Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Alright, check this out. Here we have the exhaust pipe. It's poking out, and here's the valve. So this is how we routed everything. So there we are. We decided to go as hardcore as we can, without any sort of reservoirs where the gases might compress. And now it's time to begin the testing. We have a leak somewhere, but it's stalled. What was that? That was pretty intense. Let's try that one more time. We really need to install some kind of muffler. There's a lot of pressure building up in there. The engine creates plenty of it. Now we try getting the muffler to not necessarily explode, but expand with the pressure generated by the engine. It should work. Let's do this. Look at how puffy it is. That's stretched out and, yep, there it goes. It needs some welding. It seems to be leaking all around. See how it's swelling? The sides are stretched out. Okay then, no problem. We'll give this another try. That's scary. Again, it's gotten big. So this does inflate it. Discharging? Okay, fellas, so we've been standing here contemplating what to do, and we've decided to weld it up. You see, the thing is that all around, up and down the seams, this thing is hissing like a punctured tire. It's like Swiss cheese, man. Okay, so we weld it. Yeah, we weld it, and with it welded up, we repeat what we've been doing here. Okay, fellas, we're looking pretty good here. We've welded the muffler all around, and now let's see what happens. In the end, it's like, what's up? Look at that, the engine is rotating the other way. If you look at you can tell by how the cooling fan is moving. And it picked the perfect time to stop. Try the starter. That was the intake valve opening. Okay, so take God knows which one. We are inflating the muffler, but something tells me that it's at the limit. No backfire. Crank it for me. It doesn't want to turn over. Oh wait, there it goes. Well, it obviously won't start now. Check out what we're running here, fellas. We've fitted a pressure gauge, a manometer, so that we can find out what sort of pressure is generated inside the exhaust system the moment we block it off with that ball valve. If the muffler is swelling, there has to be some pretty substantial pressure in there. Almost 5 atmospheres. It's just a bit under 5 atmospheres. It got really close. There was only a tiny bit left to go. Now that's some serious pressure. Now in theory, the muffler should be tearing apart. But for some reason it ain't. It's fighting back hard. So no explosion yet. But I want to see it. Now gasoline fumes do combust, as we know. And if we feed enough of them into the muffler, so when you bring the engine up to redline and turn the ignition off, we leave the butterfly valve open and the engine is still pulling fuel, right? So we get the air-fuel mixture in there, flip the ignition back on, and we should see a big-ass explosion. Alright fellas, so if this thing ain't giving up, we're getting silly. Right here we've installed a spark plug, and we're running a long wire to the distributor. Right there we've got an agent with a bottle of gasoline. So it's pedal to the metal, build revs, splash some gas in to create some excess fumes, then I block off the exhaust. We turn the key, the plug generates a spark. Hopefully this works. No dice. Again. Nope. Crank it for me. Yeah, hit it. I don't understand. Lades have this trait about them. When you try doing something to them on purpose, as in make the engine knock or puke, get the muffler to explode, or make the engine overheat, it seems to be a theme with these cars that it is very hard to do that sort of thing on purpose. But when you're just using it normally, you get knocking motors, rods going through the block, exploding mufflers, and all that other nice stuff. Overheating situations, seized pistons, and so we've decided to make our lives easier and use a blowtorch. Come on. Spray. Spray. Enough? You guys see what's happening? It's just burning and that's it. Almost there. Alright, so day 3026 of our project, yeah? Let's get this started. Will you look at that? Ain't having it. Let's try one more time. This took the better part of a day. I am truly at a loss for words. And that's a wrap. I see you've had enough, eh? Alright, fellas, so this grueling battle was ultimately won by the muffler. I mean, how the... We were expecting it to explode since... 5 kilos, that's a substantial amount of pressure. But in fact, you seeing this? Who would have thought, seriously? Looks like they designed it to resist exploding. We saw gases escaping through the seams, and though they weren't, flying out, but once the pressure builds up, you do see some of them begin to escape, which keeps the muffler from being torn apart. We even welded it up to no avail, but then again, we made it almost impossible to tear apart since it's basically a barrel at this point. The pressure spreads out over the inner surface area, the metal and the welds hold up. So this episode was requested by our viewers, and now we know what happens when you block off the exhaust abruptly. We see gases escaping through the carburetor, but nothing too severe. The engine does struggle a bit. When the path for gases is completely blocked off by that valve, you're obviously not starting the engine, which you just saw for yourselves. It was coughing and sneezing, to the point where it almost even started. But then it died. The gases aren't escaping. There is no oxygen going in, and there's no fuel supply, obviously. So how is it even supposed to start? Anyway, fellas, that's all I have for you. Watch us, subscribe, send in those comments and suggestions, give us a big thumbs up. Keep those suggestions coming. Alright, catch you later.